Hey everybody, David here. Wanted to talk to you guys today about creating a calendar booking website for yourself, for your department, for your company. So there's a calendar application that is part of Office 365. There's a handful of decent and really good videos out there on the internet, but I wanted to make another one because a lot of times with these algorithms, you don't necessarily get to see this kind of stuff unless you just so happen to stumble across it. And because I think it's a tremendous value to your business, to you personally, and or your department, I want to make sure that you're aware of all of the tools that's available to get the most out of your subscriptions. So with that being said, let's talk about some pain, and the pain is around scheduling appointments. You would be surprised that in today's day and age, despite all of the wonderful services that are out there, there are still some people in your organization, and you may be one of them, that go and try to use Microsoft Outlook in the very traditional sense to book calendar appointments. Now, this is great for using it internally, but even then, even half of you watching it in that scenario don't even use it properly. And by that, what I mean is when you're booking an appointment for a meeting and you start adding people, right? So let's go over to the traditional meeting screen, right? You start adding people in your organization as required or optional or whoever, right? And so as a result of that, you just blindly schedule them at a particular time block, right? And it's done in ignorance or assumption that they're just going to be available. Well, that's not always the case, and usually the case more often than not. And so what happens is you go back and forth. People don't want to be rude, so what they do is they just simply tell you, I'm not available at a particular time that you scheduled me for, but they're thinking, did they not even bother to look at my calendar? And as a result, you're like thinking, this is nuts, right? And so those same people will continue to do the same thing again and again and again if you don't softly and kindly say, could you please use the scheduling assistant to look at my calendar to make sure that when you're scheduling my appointments that you know that they're there. And so under the scheduling assistant, this is where it is. It's just another tab in the booking page. You can see that there are people booked at a particular time that you're trying to schedule. And if there's a block in the way, don't schedule the meeting. So that, again, works great internally. But what about if you're external? And if you're trying to do this with customers? Well, you can't be so kind or rude or whatever you want to call it, telling them, hey, would you please look at my, scheduling assistant, whatever. And so that doesn't exist on the web. But it does exist in Office 365, and very, very few of you out there with an Office 365 subscription know about it. The other disclaimer is going to be this. What I'm about to show you may or may not be available to you based on if your administrators have locked this down. And because a good chunk of your administrators don't even know this page exists, chances are they've provided no security around it. So you might be able to exploit this to your advantage. And at this point, what you do is you just go ahead and create yourself a booking page. Now, I'm going to show you the right way to do it. And I'm going to show you different ways that you could do it. So if you're a manager, you could set it up for your department. If you're a division leader, a VP level over that, I'll show you how to use it in that area. And if you're just a worker, just they're doing whatever it is you need to do, but you schedule a lot of meetings, maybe you're customer facing, this will help save the frustration. Now, there's booking calendar services like Calendly and Write, and I think there's a handful of other ones out there. And so if you run across this pain, chances are you might be thinking about paying for a subscription. Well, why do that? You already have this available to you for free in Microsoft Office, and it will book team meetings for you on your behalf. So let's get into this. Click the waffle. Look for this software called Bookings. If you don't see it, come down here and click on the All Apps, and then Bookings will be in that list there for you. So the next thing that you need to do is you're going to come to this screen, okay? And as a result of that, you can get started by clicking the Get Started button. And so this will take you now through a kind of a wizard. So It's not important to have a logo, but if you have one, it makes the booking page look a lot better. I'm going to give this a name called Demo. Let's do bookings. So we got a bookings demo. I'm going to add a logo. I'm going to use this unnamed image. I don't know what it is. Just grabbed it off the internet. Looks decent enough. Finish editing. Okay, so we have a demo booking. Business type. Let's see. I'm in IT support. So let's go ahead and create the calendar. So now what we have to do is create some services. Now services are ways of creating scheduled blocks around a particular topic. So this is in scope if you're a division leader, a department manager, name this whatever your department is, right? And the idea is that you can add your staff members or people in the department that you want to have outside customers to create scheduled appointments with. If you're an individual, just create this as a way of just, instead of maybe IT support, we'll call this Dave's Booking. Dave's Booking Calendar, okay? And I want to set up a online meeting, and 30-minute meetings are probably good, okay? So we'll do that there. When is the service available? It's going to be available Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Actually, let's change this because we'll do 4 p.m. because we don't want to have somebody book a meeting past that time frame. So in any event, let's go ahead and choose that. Now search for people or groups. Who provides this service? Now these are people inside of your organization. Let's just search the directory. I've got too many auto suggestions here. Hopefully that is me and not my Gmail or something else that I've used before. All right, so allow these providers to manage the booking calendars as well. So if you're creating this for somebody else, you're going to want to do this because this is kind of going to be stored up under your identity and your name. So in any event, you want to allow this person that you assigned the ability to manage the booking calendar as well. 3 different settings. Private would be used in this use case if you're a receptionist or a secretary. This is what you would want to use, right? And so it's private. Only the person that has rights to it can get to it to create these appointments. Maybe your assistant, and you don't want anybody else in the organization to get to it, and you certainly don't want it exposed to the outside world. Now, people in my organization, this to me is pointless because of what I showed you earlier in that you can use the scheduling assistant in Outlook to accomplish the same thing. This is just a waste of time. So I almost would say not to use this. Now, the only difference that I will caveat, this could be helpful for divisions or departments. If somebody wants to schedule a meeting with a department or a department organization, or you want to maybe leverage services because you as a department offer services internally, okay, then I can understand maybe using this. However, for individuals, scheduling assistant in Outlook, that's the way to go. However, what I wanted to highlight and focus here is anyone. This means anybody on the internet, anybody in your company has access to this page. So you can share this page abroad. Okay, so let's go ahead and complete the setup. And now you will see that I have essentially a bookings calendar page. Now it's quite ugly. It's very simple, and people will pick only the service. And because I had chosen myself, this is the select staff, which is optional. We can do to anyone. Now with anyone, what's going to happen is that anybody that has any availability on their calendar, it's going to kind of like go and rotate and roll through that and pick that. And because it's got this globe up here, this is an online meeting. And so at this point, people can fill out their information and they can go ahead and book an appointment at this particular time. So the issue though is that this is set to anyone, and we want to kind of focus it down or lock it down for one particular user. So with that being said, let's go and jump out of this screen. Let's go back into the bookings. It should now pick up that I have a bookings calendar. And now here is the calendar, the bookings demo. If you go to the settings page, you will have a way of looking at all of the staff that is available through here. Okay, so if I start removing the rest of these folks from the pile, okay, now when I go to the bookings page, the behavior should change. And now I only have the only person available, and that's the person that I originally had set it up for, which is me. Okay, so make sure that you go in and you look at that particular setting. It's under staff, and so here is the other staff, and you can add other staff if you want. And if you do that, then pretty much you'll get that characteristic and or behavior with being able to choose anyone. I mean, the user visiting the page can choose anyone, but if you strip all of that out, then they're kind of forced just to pick that one individual. Okay, so with that being said, we can now move on. With the staff being chosen for the My Profile, and this is also important because this is a calendar based on the bookings demo. It's a user in Office 365. So if we were to go into the back end and look at the users in the administrative section, this is actually a user. So you can delete this bookings calendar by simply deleting the bookings user that's created. Now that, another caveat, if you're an admin and you try to delete the user, it soft deletes, right? It holds them in this stasis of like 30 days, which means this calendar is going to be around for about 30 days. You'll have to go into PowerShell and use the commandlet to remove the user from the recycle bin. And then when you do that, then the calendar page will be fully deleted. Otherwise, if you don't know how to use PowerShell and you don't want to use PowerShell, you're going to have to wait 30 days for this bookings page to go away, which could be a problem. So if that's the case, make sure that you remove all of the staff. Make sure that you put maybe a temporary user and then just, I don't know, maybe set some sort of notification that this is a fake or this is no longer in use. But it's a whole lot of extra work. Just go learn the simple one-line PowerShell script that's maybe 70 characters long, and maybe I can provide a link to that for you. So let's see here, delete. Now we don't want to delete bookings calendar. What we want to do is we want to force a remove. There we go, PowerShell. How to permanently, here we go. This is, okay, so here you go. So connect to MsolService. You'll want to return the deleted users, which should only be what you just deleted. And then this is the command that you'll use right here. If the stupid screen would stop moving around. You remove the MsolUser, specifying the username, and then use the switch RemoveFromRecycleBin. Okay, so that's the command. So that's how easy it was to find this. I'll let you Google it. You saw how I Googled it. Now you'll know how to do it. All right, that being said, moving on, we are going to shut down the booking calendar page again. We're going to go back into the settings. We're going to go to the services. Now, let's go into the services and let's go into the staff. This is a staff member that's assigned to the service. You have to do that because if you don't do that, when they pick a service, or I guess maybe a better way of saying is, when you assign a staff member to a service, it allows you to bind their personal calendar to the bookings calendar for that particular said service. That way, when somebody is going online to try to make an appointment, they're actually getting real information from their personal Outlook calendar. Now, when I say that, I don't mean they can see it. They just will remove. In other words, whatever they've got on the calendar, it won't show. It'll just remove that time frame for them to pick that time to choose from. So there's no security issue at all. They don't get to see anything publicly. They just, the time's either available or it's not available. It's as simple as that. All right, and now the next thing is the custom fields. By default, you saw on the booking screen, I guess I thought I had something on the clipboard that I didn't. Let's go to bookings page. Let's copy this out again. You see on the bottom right here, name, email, address, phone number. Those are the default fields. However, you can add custom fields. You can add more fields to it. And so you can do this at the service level, at the high level. So there's lots of different ways to deal with this. So in the services level, let's see if we edit the service. Let's see, custom fields. Okay, so these are the custom fields at the service level, right? Because I clicked into service and I went into that. And now if I go to custom fields, these are custom fields at the calendar level. So one level up. The calendar level is the parent, the service is the child, okay? And from here, you have the bookings page. Now, again, as I showed you, it's kind of ugly or whatever, but you have some options. Here's business page access control. Now, we set that up in the beginning with the wizard, but if you need to go back and modify that, this is where you will go ahead and do that. So this is business page access control. It includes the requirements of Office 365, control, search engine, indexing, all that other stuff. This allows things to essentially be found. And as a result of that, you can also, my phone's blown up. As a result of that, what you can do is customer data usage consent. Okay, this is, disclaimer that you can put on there. Hey, look, we're collecting your information, yada, yada, yada. So if you're legal, a law firm, a consulting services, you need to disclaim everything. This is where you can go ahead and provide that information. And some of that information may be a requirement you're in Europe, GDPR, that kind of stuff. So that's where you'll make that change. Okay, so default scheduling policy. This is kind of global. It's at the calendar level for the bookings page. This is where you will set, what the increments are. You can change it down to very granular, 5 minutes. That's the bottom. You can do custom, lots of flexibility here. The default is 30 minutes. I find that usually acceptable. Every once in a while, you run into a need for a quick meeting for 15-minute intervals. If that's the case, you can go ahead and change it here at the bookings page. Again, I also believe you can change that at the services level. So if we go in and edit this, let's see here, duration. So this is where you'll override that. Use the default online scheduling policy, which will now inherit from the calendar. Otherwise, you can set this down more granular. So this is where we add the online meetings. Let's see, duration 30 minutes. So from here, I can change that down to 15. So you can, again, granularly change this down at the service level and or inherit from its parent, the calendar. Okay, so let's discard the changes on that. So back to the booking page. Another thing is the customize your page. Okay, so this is where you'll choose a color theme. If you don't like it, you can use hex code values in order to do that. And so I'll let you explore that. The logo, we already saw that we had a, logo, okay logo up there. One thing I like to do, so if you do want to customize it in Chrome, I have this color picker, page color picker. It's a Chrome browsing thingy. What I like to do though is use it to do things like this. So maybe I want to have this blue used in my custom colors. So if I set that here, so now let me set that over here. That makes more sense. And we'll set this to white. I just so happen to know that white is FFF. And do I need to save? Yes, I do need to save. And if we come back over here and refresh, okay, now I got that wonderful, hideous blue. Maybe I don't like that. I can change it to something else, but moving on. The last thing is to specify the calendar, whether or not it's in the Eastern time zone, wherever your time zone is, right? However, when you do that, an end user, so this is what shows up by default, Eastern time, right? Because this is where I have it set. And again, this is on the bookings page. It's a setting on the bookings page, which is why it's showing what it's showing here. However, the user, the visitor to the page, can change it to their time zone so that when they see this, everything transfers into their time zone. Very, very, very helpful. Okay? And so with that being said, we're moving on to the business information, and here are the basic details about the business. So bookings demo, you can add a business address, you can send a reply specifically to this particular email address, and then of course you have all of the information that is down here. And this is the global business hours. So 8 to 5, Saturday and Sundays are off, and so all of this is nested up underneath the business information. So with that being said, now you have a bookings calendar, and it's set up for you personally. And if you've added additional staff members, it is now available to your, all of the staff members that you've added. So again, this works for division, departments, whatever. Hope this information was helpful. That's it for this video. We'll see you in the next one. Have a good one. Bye.